You are rising into a season where your worth is undeniable, a season where your heart is protected, a season where your presence is honored. Their betrayal was painful, yes, but it was also necessary. It removed what was blocking your blessings. It created space for the people who will choose you without hesitation. And it awakened a power inside you that nothing and no one can silence. This is not a chapter of loss. This is the beginning of your transformation, elevation. You'll come back, and the world is about to see the version of you that betrayal could not break, regret cannot reach, and destiny has been waiting for. When they betray you for a fake, God reveals their true heart. There are moments in life that shake you deep, moments that don't just hurt your feelings, they hit your soul. When someone you trusted, someone you believed in, someone you poured yourself into, turns their back on you, not because you failed them, but because they fell for a lie. They betrayed you for a fake, something shallow, something temporary, something loud but empty. And in the moment it feels like the world is crumbling beneath your feet. It feels personal. It feels like you weren't enough. But hear this truth. Their betrayal was never a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of their weakness. People don't betray you because you are lacking. They betray you because they cannot handle authenticity. They cannot carry the weight of your heart. You offered loyalty, they wanted convenience. You offered depth, they wanted distraction. You offered truth, they ran toward flattery. They traded something real for something that looked good for the moment, but life has a way of exposing illusions. Fake things always fall apart. And when the fake collapses, regret rises. You see, the person they betrayed you for, the one they chased, was never your competition. They were simply the mask that hid the truth they didn't want to look at. They believed they were upgrading. They believed they were choosing the better life. They believed they had outgrown you. But what they couldn't see was that the path they chose was built on sand, not stone. Everything they ran toward was temporary, and now everything they thought they wanted is slipping through their fingers. And now they're waking up to the reality they tried to avoid. Now they're staring at the consequences of their choices. Now their heart is filled with the regret they never expected to face. But that regret does not belong to you. It belongs to them. It is their burden, not yours. Because your story did not end when they betrayed you. Your story began when they left. What they meant for your downfall became the catalyst for your rise. Losing them did not break you. It freed you. It freed you from people who could not see your value. It freed you from relationships built on conditions. It freed you from environments that were too small for your calling. Betrayal didn't stunt your growth, it ignited it. It pushed you into a version of yourself that is wiser, stronger, clearer, and more powerful than anything they ever imagined. Life has a beautiful way of turning pain into clarity. Every tear opened your eyes a little more. Every disappointment sharpened your instincts. Every heartbreak expanded your understanding. You stopped operating from emotion and began operating from purpose. You stopped pouring into empty cups and began valuing your own. You stopped begging to be seen and realized you were never meant to be understood by small minds in the first place. And while you healed, while you rose, while you found your strength again, they were sinking deeper into the consequences of their betrayal. At first, it felt like excitement for them, a thrill, a fresh beginning. But illusions always fade. And when they do, reality hits harder than any truth you could have spoken. They begin to see you differently, not because you changed, but because the fake they chased exposed their own flaw. The lies they believed collapsed. The person they ran toward showed their true colors. The road they chose revealed its emptiness. And suddenly they realize they betrayed someone who was real for someone who pretended to be. They let go of someone who would have stood by them for someone who barely stayed long enough to play a role. They lost someone who held them up for someone who kept pulling them down. Their regret is not just emotional, it is transformational. It forces them to face the truth they avoided. It forces them to confront what they destroyed. It forces them to acknowledge that they hurt the very person who wanted the best for them. But here's the part you must understand. Your job is not to return. Your job is not to rebuild what they broke. Your job is not to heal their regret. Your job is to continue rising. Because the moment they betrayed you, something shifted in your destiny. You were pushed onto a new path, one that requires clarity, strength, and elevation. You are stepping into a chapter where your heart will be honored, not played with. A chapter where your presence will be valued, not taken for granted. A chapter where your loyalty will be matched, not exploited. Their betrayal became your protection. Their absence became your advantage. Their regret became your revelation. And as you rise, you begin to realize something powerful. If they could betray you so easily, they were never meant to walk the full journey with you. If they could replace you so quickly, they were never capable of loving you deeply. If they could choose fake over real, they were never equipped to carry your gift. Some people are not meant to stay. Some hearts are not meant to hold yours. Some connections exist only to teach you what love is not. You are not losing when people betray you. You are being redirected towards something better, stronger, truer. So stand tall. Move forward with your head high. Let their regret be their teacher, not your anchor. Let their choices be their lesson, not your burden. Let their betrayal be the moment you stepped into your true power. Because this time, you're rising with a clarity forged in pain, a strength built through heartbreak, and a purpose that betrayal could never steal. You are not just moving on, you are moving up. And the world has no idea what's coming next. Their regret is not your responsibility. There comes a moment in your healing journey when you realize something life-changing. The regret is not your responsibility. The same people who betrayed you, who walked away from you like you were replaceable, who traded your loyalty for temporary excitement, those people will eventually feel the weight of what they've done. The universe has a way of revealing every truth they tried to escape. But here is what you must understand. Here is what you must hold deeply in your spirit. You do not owe them comfort, explanation, or rescue from the consequences they created. Too many people carry guilt for the very people who hurt them. You start thinking about what you could have done differently, how you could have prevented the betrayal, how you might have saved the relationship. But the truth is simple. Betrayal is a choice, and the person who betrayed you did not trip into that decision. They walked into it with open eyes. They saw your heart, your consistency, your loyalty, and still decided to gamble with something fake. That is not your burden to fix. That is their lesson to learn. There was a time when you would have run to save them, a time when the idea of them hurting would have broken you, a time when you would have sacrificed your peace just to ease their regret. But you are not in that season anymore. Betrayal changes you. It wakes you up. It pulls the blindfold off your heart and forces you to see people exactly as they are, not as you hoped they would be. You begin to understand that your love cannot heal someone who prefers illusion. Your effort cannot save someone who is committed to self-destruction. Your loyalty cannot upgrade someone who is comfortable living low. You cannot be the survivor for someone who refuses to grow. Their regret is the final chapter of that story, not the beginning of a new one. When someone betrays you for a fake, they don't realize what they've done until the fake collapses. At first, everything looks exciting. Everything looks perfect. They believe they made the right choice. But illusions don't last. Masks slip. Lies unravel. The thrill fades. And suddenly, they're left staring into the emptiness they ran toward. That emptiness forces them to turn around and look at what they threw away. That's when regret hits them. Not a soft regret, but the kind that shakes the soul. Yet even then, even when they finally see your worth, you must remind yourself, you don't get to carry the weight of their awakening. Your heart was already broken. Your trust was already shattered. Your spirit was already tested. You carried enough. You don't need to carry their regret too. What people don't understand is that regret is part of their growth. It is not yours. Their regret is their mirror, their accountability, their consequences. And consequences are not punishments, they are teachers. You cannot interfere with a lesson life is trying to teach someone. You cannot protect someone from the results of the seeds they planted. If they sowed betrayal, they will harvest regret. If they sowed lies, they will harvest emptiness. If they sowed selfishness, they will harvest loneliness. That is how life works. Not because the world is cruel, but because life is fair. You don't have to seek revenge. You don't have to wish them pain. Regret will teach them more than you ever could. But here's the part that truly transforms you. Understanding that you have the right to walk away from someone even if they are sorry. You have the right to choose peace over reconciliation. You have the right to protect your heart even if they finally recognize your value. You have the right to move forward without looking back. Forgiveness is not the same as access. Closure is not an invitation to rebuild. Their apology does not require you to return. Their regret does not obligate you to reopen what nearly destroyed you. You can forgive and continue your life without allowing them to re-enter the world they damaged. That is your power. That is your healing. That is your evolution. Because when you rise after betrayal, you rise differently. You rise with thicker skin, sharper discernment, and deeper self-respect. You rise with boundaries that don't bend. You rise knowing you will never again shrink yourself to fit into a heart that couldn't hold you. You rise understanding that not everyone has the capacity to love the way you love, and not everyone has the strength to stay loyal in a world full of temptation. Some people fall because they were never rooted in truth to begin with, and those people will always feel regret, not because they changed, but because regret is the shadow that follows those who betray what was real. But while they drown in regret, you must rise into purpose. Do not slow your growth trying to monitor their downfall. Do not shrink your light trying to make them comfortable. Do not pause your journey waiting for them to catch up to the maturity you already possess. Their regret might make them reach out. It might make them call, text, apologize, reminisce, or cry. But remember this, the moment they betrayed you, they disqualified themselves from walking the next chapter with you. You cannot return to the place that broke you. You cannot rebuild what was never meant to last. You cannot choose someone who tried to replace you. The future ahead of you is too powerful, too aligned, too divine to be held back by someone who didn't appreciate you when they had the chance. Your responsibility is not their regret. Your responsibility is your destiny, your future, your healing, your elevation, your peace. The life you're building now deserves your full commitment. The person you're becoming deserves your full energy. The blessings that are coming your way require your full focus. You cannot carry someone who dropped you. You cannot heal someone who harmed you. You cannot teach someone a lesson that life is already teaching them. Let regret do its work while you do yours. In the end, the truth is simple and powerful. You were the blessing. and they were too blind to see it. And blindness always leads to regret. But sight, true sight, comes from pain. So let them see now, let them understand now, let them awaken now. But don't let their awakening pull you backwards. Keep moving forward. Keep rising. Keep becoming everything their betrayal tried to stop you from becoming. Their regret is not your responsibility, but your greatness, your healing, and your future absolutely are. The day they realized you were the one they should never have lost. There comes a day, a quiet day, a heavy day, a day that hits them harder than the betrayal ever hit you. When the person who walked away finally understands the truth they spent so long running from. The day they realize you were the one they should never have lost. Not because life suddenly became difficult, not because the illusion they chased fell apart, not because loneliness whispered in their ear, but because life revealed what they refused to see when they had you, that real hearts, real love, real loyalty are rare, and once lost, they cannot be replaced. This realization does not come softly. It comes like a storm that dismantles their pride, cracks open their illusions, and forces them to face the truth they buried beneath ego, excitement, or temptation. And when this day arrives, regret becomes the air they breathe, heavy, suffocating, undeniable. When they betrayed you for a fake, they believed the grass was greener on the other side. They thought you were ordinary because you loved them consistently. They mistook your loyalty for convenience. They mistook your honesty for simplicity. They mistook your care for something that would always be there waiting. They believed you would always forgive, always reach out, always fight for the connection, even if they didn't fight for you. They took your presence for granted because you made loving them look effortless. But it wasn't effortless, it was intentional. It was genuine. It was real. And nothing destroys a person faster than realizing too late that the real one is gone. And when that realization hits, it breaks them from the inside. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way people can see, but in a way that keeps them awake at night, replaying every wrong turn they made. They remember the moments you stood by them when you didn't have to. They remember the way you believed in them when they couldn't believe in themselves. They remember how your presence brought peace, how your voice brought clarity, how your energy brought meaning. They remember your laughter, your patience, your heart. They remember that while they were searching for excitement, you were offering stability. While they were distracted by noise, you were giving them harmony. While they were chasing illusions, you were giving them truth. And truth always returns to haunt the people who abandoned it. This realization doesn't arrive as a gentle thought, it comes as a painful awareness. They traded gold for glitter, substance for surface, connection for convenience. And life begins to reveal the consequences. The fake person they chose begins to show their true nature. The excitement they chase burns out, the illusion collapses, the mask slips, the thrill fades, and suddenly they are face to face with emptiness. But the real pain isn't the loss of the fake, it's the loss of you. Because the person they chose never had the depth, the character, the loyalty, or the soul that you carried naturally, and now they know it. But here is what makes this realization even heavier for them. You didn't wait. You didn't pause your life hoping they would return. You didn't hold your breath wishing they would fix themselves. You didn't stay stuck in the moment they broke you. You healed, you grew, you evolved, you rose. And while they were losing themselves in illusions, you were finding yourself in purpose. That contrast hits harder than any regret. They come back looking for the old version of you, the one who would have taken them back without hesitation. But that version of you no longer exists. Pain upgraded you, betrayal elevated you, distance strengthened you. The person they left behind died the day they betrayed you, and the version that stands now is someone they never expected you to become. When they look at you now, they see strength where they expected brokenness. They see confidence where they hoped for insecurity. They see self-worth where they once saw dependence. They see a glow they cannot explain. They see a future that no longer includes them. And that realization hurts more than the regret itself. They come to understand that the love they treated lightly is now guarded. The heart they took advantage of is now protected. And the heart they took advantage of is now protected. The access they abused has now expired. They are witnessing a version of you they cannot reach, and that is the moment their regret becomes irreversible. But here is the deeper truth. That day is not meant for your satisfaction. It is meant for your closure. It is not meant to inflate your ego. It is meant to confirm your growth. It is not meant for revenge. It is meant for release. Because the real victory is not their regret. It is your evolution. When they realize you were the one they should never have lost, it is not a call for you to return. It is a reminder that you were never the problem. You were the blessing. You were the steady foundation they couldn't recognize. You were the love they weren't mature enough to hold. And destiny removed them from your life because their presence would have limited your rise. Their realization does not require your response. You don't need to affirm it. You don't need to acknowledge it. You don't need to give them reassurance. The closure you needed came the moment you accepted that their betrayal was your redirection. Life was never punishing you. It was protecting you. Protecting you from a future built on instability. Protecting you from a heart that couldn't match yours. Protecting you from a relationship that would have drained your spirit. Their exit, painful as it was, became your liberation. And their regret, as heavy as it is, becomes their teacher. The day they realize what they lost, everything becomes clear. You didn't lose them, they lost you. You didn't fall apart, you found yourself. You didn't get abandoned, you got delivered. And now you walk forward, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. Not with anger, but with clarity. Not with insecurity, but with power. Because the truth stands firm. The one who betrayed you for a fake will always regret it, but the one who was betrayed and rose from it will always win in the end. You are that winner. You are that overcomer. You are that testimony. And nothing they lost can compare to everything you are becoming. You rise when their betrayal fails to break you. There comes a point in your journey where the betrayal that once felt like the end becomes the very beginning of your rise. In the moment it happened, you felt the sting of being replaced, the shock of being abandoned, the weight of being unappreciated. You felt the cuts of words they never said, but actions they chose. They betrayed you for a fake, for someone who fed their ego instead of nourishing their soul, for someone who offered excitement without character, attention without loyalty, presence without purpose. But what they didn't know was that the pain they caused would awaken a version of you they were never meant to meet. A version built not from weakness, but from resilience. A version shaped not from heartbreak, but from rebirth. A version that rises, even when everything tried to break you. At first, betrayal feels like destruction. Like everything you gave, everything you sacrificed, everything you hoped for was wasted. You question your worth, you question your judgment, you question your future. But life has a way of revealing truths in silence. Through your tears, through your nights of replaying every moment, through your days of searching for meaning, something powerful starts to happen. You begin to see the betrayal for what it really was, a separation, not a loss. Life didn't break you, Life freed you. Life removed what was blocking your next level. Life pulled you away from the hands that were not capable of holding your heart. Life revealed what you couldn't bring yourself to walk away from. In the beginning, you may not have recognized this. The pain was too fresh, too sharp, too heavy. But every day, as the wound began to close, clarity started to grow. You started to see that the one who betrayed you did not destroy you. They exposed themselves. They exposed their insecurities. They exposed their lack of loyalty. They exposed their weakness. Because betrayal is never a reflection of your character. It is always a reflection of theirs. Strong person communicates. A mature person respects. A loyal person stays. A real person doesn't exchange something genuine for something temporary. So their betrayal wasn't your downfall, it was their revelation. And when you realized this, everything changed. You began to rise, not loudly, not dramatically, but steadily, silently, powerfully. The same pain that once held you down slowly became the fuel that pushed you forward. You started rebuilding your spirit piece by piece. You started rediscovering your value. You started reclaiming your identity. You started protecting your peace. And while you were rising, they were falling deeper into the reality they created, because the betrayal that was supposed to break you ended up breaking them. Not immediately, not visibly, but slowly, internally, quietly. It's the kind of regret that comes when someone realizes too late who you truly were. While they chased illusions, you built truth. While they played games, you built strength. While they chose temporary, you embraced transformation. And transformation is something no betrayal can stop. You learned to stand on your own feet without needing validation from anyone who couldn't honor your heart. You learned that love doesn't have to be begged for. You learned that loyalty is a gift, not a weakness. You learned that your value is not determined by someone else's blindness. You learned that the right people don't betray, they build. And as you rise, something even more powerful happens. You detach. The memory of their betrayal slowly loses its grip over your emotions. What once hurt now teaches. What once broke now builds. What once confused now clarifies. You stop asking why they betrayed you and start thanking God they did. Because if they hadn't left, you wouldn't have leveled up. If they hadn't betrayed you, you wouldn't have awakened. If they hadn't walked away, your destiny would still be tied to someone incapable of growing with you. Your rise becomes your revenge. Not a revenge fueled by anger, but a revenge fueled by purpose. You rise by becoming the person their betrayal tried to prevent. You rise by choosing healing over bitterness. You rise by choosing strength over victimhood. You rise by choosing growth over dwelling. You rise by choosing your future over your past. And while you're rising, they are facing the consequences of the choice they made. The fake they ran toward fails to satisfy their spirit. The thrill they wanted fades. The excitement collapses. The mask slips, and the reality they avoided comes crashing down. They begin to realize that replacing you was not a win, it was a loss they can never reverse. But that regret is not your concern, because your rise is not for them, it is for you. You are rising into a version of yourself defined by clarity, power, self-respect, and wisdom. You no longer need closure, your healing became your closure. You no longer need answers, your growth became your answer. You no longer need their apology, your transformation became the proof that you won. They thought breaking you would diminish you. You became the proof that you were. They thought breaking you would diminish, but betrayal didn't break you. It built you. It built your resilience. It built your intuition. It built your strength. It built your boundaries. It built the version of you that can no longer be manipulated, replaced, or underestimated. And when you rise, everything shifts. You attract better. You choose better. You think clearer. You move smarter. You grow spiritually. You elevate mentally. You mature emotionally. You build a life that no betrayal can shake.